Alright, today's quick little video here is going to be simply about making a little hot beverage in the field, okay? This would work with hot chocolate or any damn thing you got to heat up, but I'm going to clue you into something you might not know about, and this is something borrowed from our Arab friends, okay? Yeah, don't buy into all that they're not our friend bullshit. Because not necessarily true, they probably indeed are our friends. They don't like our government any more than we do. Alright, it's a typical Arab or Middle Eastern, whatever is the politically correct term, which like I care, coffee pot. Alright, they all come in this shape. This is the big one, it's 13 ounces. Designated by a 13 on the handle, some of them are 12 ounces. They're also considered the big one, alright? You put in it 12 to 13 ounces of water. Now this normally serves like 4, which they usually use these little cups. You know, I'm an espresso drinker from way back, so I'm sorry man, 8 ounces of espresso is what I slam at a time. So, you know, maybe my heart's just, you know, tough and can hack it, and the rest of you might have heart attacks, but that's what I drink. You can use any coffee. I have bought some Arabic coffee. Now, Arabic coffee comes with or without hail. Hail is like a spice that they add to it, which makes it a bit bitter, which I don't care for. I get it without hail. Any coffee will work. You simply grind it finer than what espresso is ground. Yes, finer than espresso, or awfully damn close. In the field, if you've got whole beans, wow, I hope you have a mortar and pestle, because that's what you're going to need, or you're going to be slamming your shit between rocks. But this is not going to work with whole beans. You need it ground. I suggest you buy a mortar and pestle. Okay, now, 2 very large heaping tablespoons is what you need. In order to kind of mainstream that mess a little bit, I've got this espresso shot glass here, which I don't know, holds probably, that's a 40 mark. I would have to say that it holds closer to 45 milliliters, maybe greater than 1.5 ounces. I like to fill it up practically full, okay? All the way full is a little too strong, a little too steep. So, you know, when it's packed in there tight, I kick a little out. I like it about that full, maybe up to that 40 mark, right? Stuff it on in. Trick I learned from an Egyptian fellow eating at my favorite Egyptian restaurant. Like there's a lot of those around. He adds some sugar to it, which I think that's not uncommon. A little bit of sugar to take the bite away. But he also adds a sprig of mint. Now, I am lacking mint today, or I would throw some in there, but you don't need it. It's just an extra. But I do throw about a teaspoon of sugar. I've got my 12 to 13. I like 13 ounces of water because it gives me a little bit left over that does not get drank by anyone. Put it on your fire. Now, the typical way to cook this is to bring it to a rapid boil 3 times. It will foam up and come all the way foaming up to the top. You take it off your heat. It'll go back down. You put it back. It'll rise again. You take it off your heat. It'll go down. Put it back a 3rd time. It'll rise to the top. That's it. You're done. This coffee is ready to serve. There's no filtering. There's no bullshit with this. You simply dump your coffee in with your water, heat it the hell up, and serve. Now, you think, well, what about all those grounds? It's not ground so much as it's sediment. It's like mud. And it settles to the bottom. So, when it sets down cooling for a minute, your sediment starts forming on the bottom of your pot. After it has cooled for a minute, crank up the heat there. After it's cooled for a minute, you pour it in your cup. You're careful pouring, not to stir and slosh your crap around. And it's not so bad. It will, it'll fill up nicely. It'll, you know, I'll have this much coffee in it, and I'll drink it right down to the bottom. There again, extra sediment will settle out of the suspension and settle to the bottom. So you always leave the last little swig alone. Those of you that drink homebrew beer, you already know what I mean. You know, you never drink the last swig in a bottle of homebrew. It's chock full of sediment. So, this is the technique. Now, I guess basically we're just sitting here watching water boil. Well, while we're watching this water boil, let me remind you all, 'tis the season for gun shows, okay? A lot of these survival supplies can be found at gun shows. Now this pot, you gotta go to a Middle Eastern store to get one of these pots, but this will work with any little sauce pot. Alright, that magic, dark, rich brew is starting to bubble furiously. There it goes. Whoosh. Off of the heat. Let it go down. Put it back. Boy, my Primus stove, you gotta love it. Back up again. Yeah, Primus is not just a cool band. No, actually they have nothing to do with each other. Unless the guys from Primus have Primus stoves, I don't know. There we go. We're gonna get that third boil. Third bubbling rich broil. Push. Yes. That is bomb. Set that down. Fuel my fuel because you gotta conserve fuel. You don't know when you're going to be running out. Nice rich brew right there. Okay. Now you let that set for a minute, as I said before, and I will repeat because it bears repeating. It needs to set. If it sets for a moment, sediment will come out of suspension and settle to the bottom like a layer. Then when you pour it off in your cup, as you're letting your cup cool, because damn, this shit's 212 degrees. Yes, that's right, that's the Fahrenheit degree for boiling water. So, nobody's drinking 212 degrees coffee. So, as it cools off in your cup, there again, more is falling out of suspension and settling into a layer on the bottom. By the time you drink it, it's just right. And that is a nice, rich, dark brew. I have to admit, this is going to be my second cup for the morning, which is pretty much outrageous. That's a mighty fine brew. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be jacked up like a squirrel on crack after this, because this stuff is high power. It's going to keep you awake. This is why I buy it. Okay? Any coffee will do, and you know, you may have allegiance to some specific brand. That's fine. You know, keep your brand. I don't care. But if you want to be all nice and geeked out for being in the field, this is the stuff. Okay? You got a load of wood to chop. This is the stuff. Any coffee brand will do if you grind it fine enough, but you're not going to get a caffeine content this high out of anything. Okay, this is it. This is the bomb. This is going to blow you up. This is what you need. Alright? It'll give you power and energy to get going. So, simple enough to do. Do it on any fire source. I broke out the Primus to show you can do it simply on a camp stove, which I've done it on my kerosene stove every damn morning when I get up. Do it on an electric eye if you got power. You can do it on an open fire. You can do it on a couple of little twigs. You can do it in your canteen cup if the canteen cup stove comes with it. No problem, man. You got to make a hot beverage. It's going to keep you going. Warms up the hackles on a cold night on point. Watching the old path. It's going to keep you warm, all right? So, now you know how it's done. More power to you.